Record. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to Healing Numbers 22 Live Numerology Reading. In this hour, there's going to be three of us reading for Desiree today. Lorelei and Kraylin are not available to be with us, which is sad, but we hope everything works out well for them. In this hour, we really what we want to show people is we want to demonstrate that energy remains consistent regardless of the modality that we use. Energy is energy. Now, let me introduce our readers. David Woodbridge is an astronumerologist. He reads both the planets and the numbers. Dorothy Morgan is our go-to astrologer. I'm Sue Coffin, and I am an intuitive numerologist.
Grabbing some cards in case we need them.
So it's really important to me that I hold a safe and comfortable platform for everybody. We're all on our own journey, but we're all in it together. So please, no judgments on others. It's about kindness and respect. I also record this, so it will be on my website and YouTube channel, Healing Numbers 22. So if you don't want to be on the camera, or you don't want to be seen, you can just shut your camera on. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment field or raise your hands, and we'll make sure that it gets put in. We like people to participate, don't we?
Yes.
That makes it active. That makes it fun. Yes. So today I'd like to welcome Desiree. Welcome, Desiree.
Hi.
Desiree is in Maine, and she has, her questions are, my life has been one struggle after another, constantly striving to survive. When can I expect to start seeing a significant change? Up to this point, all changes have been very gradual, no matter how much effort I put into it or don't put into it. What part of my natal chart can I use to best understand my life's purpose? And 2024 will be a 2-year for me. What should I expect to work on or through? Yes, good questions, Desiree.
Yes.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dorothy, let's start with you this morning.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to
We'll give David a break.
Oh, that's fine. I like using, I am the astrologer. I will get to that. I love using this deck when I'm playing on YouTube and stuff. I do daily stuff, but once in a while, I don't know, last year, the year before, I was doing these cards with the astrology and astro dice and stuff. It's just a nice thing to set up. So
Wonderful.
so
You can be our card reader today.
yeah, I do these. I just don't tell people.
Lovely. Yeah, I pull cards.
Vision Quest card comes up. It's all about nature. It's oracle. It's not tarot. That's over here. So this is what you're on, right? This is like, where am I going? And it's like spending that quiet time in contemplation and, you know, trying to figure out what's next, right? What is next, and really get into that vision. And then and I'll go real quick here. And then the card on the bottom was Circle of Life. I like to look at that one too. Of course.
I like that one.
So terrific. So that's what's happening. When I saw your questions, there's quite a few, and we could do an hour on that, but this isn't about personal. Well, we can't do that because there's all of us. But when the one question you asked, Desiree, was about like, where do I look for, what was that question? My life purpose, right? Is that what you said? I don't have the questions in front of me.
Let me see. Yes, what part of my natal chart can I use to best understand my life purpose?
The life purpose. The whole chart is that blueprint, as you probably know. It sounds like you know enough about astrology. But the main life purpose, the underlying theme is going to be those lunar north and south nodes. If you have them in your astrology chart, or anybody who might be listening, you can get them at any of the free sites and just have them put in. True node, mean node, there's 2 different measurements. They're all within a few minutes of each other, so you don't have to split that hair. They look like, for others who don't know, they look like a headset or a horseshoe, okay? The one that looks like the horseshoe, like it could hold something, is the south node. That's what we know. theory, the belief is like that south node is like where we've been, what we know, what we're very good at. It's like all the tools we came in with that energy. The energy, what energy is it? It's the energy of that zodiac sign. That's it. It's just that pure zodiac energy. So yours is, I believe it's Aries. I don't have your chart up right in front of me. I'm looking at you
You're right.
instead. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, your north node is Aries. And so that is what you will be moving away from, but it will be something that you do on a regular basis. Think of yourself. Now, I'm not saying selfish, but I'm saying you're always going to be looking at what is it, the way I see this sometimes is always doing everything for yourself because nobody can do it better. I need to always do this for me. I'm the one I can trust the most. And it's fine because you've done that. You learned that most likely in childhood, that pattern and cycle was instilled somehow in childhood. And again, with the evolutionary astrologers and others, they would tell you that that south node in Aries is from past lives. So we really do have a lot of knowledge there, and we can't dismiss it. We're not meant to dismiss it, but we're meant to move forward to the opposite zodiac sign, which is the north node, and that is in Libra. So it represents working with others, working in partnerships, working in tandem, setting aside the self attitude where again, like I have to do everything, nobody helps me, that kind of a thing. I mean, I don't know if you feel that inside sometimes.
Definitely. You're
Yeah.
spot on with that.
It's all of our whatever south node we have, they stay in the zodiac sign approximately 18 months, 18, 19 months every cycle. They go through all of them. We all have that. And so especially since we're doing this sort of public, it's not to berate anything about what that south node is, just to be clear. It's like when I'm stressed and I'm behaving unconsciously, I slip back into what my south node zodiac sign is. All of us do that. It's just human nature, right? And so that life path, life purpose, the main theme is for you to regularly, as often as you can, step in and ask yourself, who can help me? Where do I need help? How can I be open for working with others? Now, doesn't that go well with this year and number 2 year? I don't know enough about numerology.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Libra is duality, right? It's balance.
Exactly. It
And that's
is.
what two is all about.
Yeah, and working with that and we do have, and that this year, oh my gosh, I forgot to even look at that. This year, Desiree, we have eclipses in the Aries and the Libra opposition energy, which means you're at that age. Yeah, we do. There we are, March 25th. I love giving dates. I lost you. Where'd you go? There you are. On March 25th, 5 Libra is where we have a lunar eclipse, and that's your north node is 7. That means it's very, very close. This happens every 38 years or so. What's your chronological age? You're right about there, aren't you? No,
I
you're
will be 46 in
It's-
February. Yeah.
it's the halfway point of the node returns. So March 25th, when we have a full moon lunar eclipse at 5 Libra, it's activating personally your lunar north and south nodes. Okay, so the sun will be in one space and the moon will be in the other. April 18th, April 8th, we have at 19 Aries. That's a little bit away, but it's still in your sign of your south node. So that tells me that in that eclipse period, March and April, there will be some activation for you to address this, work on this, something will show up. I would look at this point in time, if we were doing a private session, I would go and I would look at what other things are happening at that point in your life. But I have other things to talk about, and so does everybody else. So, but I can definitely see that there is, you're in a phase and a period of deep activation where your life path, you are ready to step onto a more piece of life where, or part of, like the Y in the road, which way do you go, left or right? Well, you really do want to go and move towards that lunar north node, which is what you're doing. These eclipses will help, especially the one in March. And then there's a solar eclipse, the one in September's in Pisces. That one's not near anything for you. And then October 2nd of 2024, there's another one at 10 degrees. So March 25th and April 2nd are two very important weeks. It doesn't ever have to be exactly on that day. Depends on how active you are in working with your stuff.
Mhm.
But it does move through and pushes you towards stepping into that partnership piece. So
When you say activation, do you mean like a circumstance that will bring about
more
the,
focus on those things. Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. How does that sound? Do you work in tandem with people, or is that something that you're regularly trying to work on?
I have had life circumstances that have made it so that I am very self-reliant.
Yes.
And I haven't had the support in my life. And
Mhm.
when I have had it, it's been a situation where it wasn't authentic
Yeah.
on the other side.
Mhm.
So learning to trust those people that
Mhm.
I let in
Yeah.
is difficult. I have gotten within the last year a circle of friends that I'm working with, and they're helping me work through some stuff
Terrific.
and teaching me a lot. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see where that moves.
Good, good. Yeah, because it's important to take these things nice and slow because, again, life past life, and even, the psychology of what happened, how we grew up. It's still so strong. It's so strong. The South Node is forever. I don't want to say we're battling it, because it isn't something we should fight, because it is a piece of you. It's like, your right hand,
Yeah.
but it's definitely something to be aware of. I know what mine is, and I know when I'm stressing out, all of a sudden I find myself in this thought mode, and I'm like, oh yeah, South Node. Okay, hello. Let's move away from
Nice.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honor you. Thank you for showing me the lessons I need to know. And so it's not something you will ever it's not like accomplish it. It's always a lesson. It's always something we're working on. You're always going to be working on how to, who, who do you let in on the inner circle? It's okay to have people, a friend taught me this too, different layers of who gets in the inner circle, right? And that's what you're processing and learning about. There's a lot. And you're so sensitive. You have so much water in your chart that you're more sensitive than most people. So you will feel what other people are doing, whether they're going, their energy is crap and they're shedding a bunch of crap, and you're picking it up and and just absorbing it. And there's so much, you have this massive grand trine and water in your chart, and the energy of that creates such a sensitivity within you. So you're needing to learn to shield as well. But yeah, working in tandem with people, but you could be a manager too, and you can use this energy as like a project manager or something like that in real life, because even though these are very spiritual and soul-based positions, we can do it in our everyday life. This is what we're meant to do. So you're meant to, even if, you can be the leader of something, that's that South Node in Aries, but then you can say, but you should work with you, and you should work with you. And this is the project we're working on. Fit it into your life, however that would fit, because that is also using your North Node in Libra. So that's the life path piece. I took 15 minutes there. Okay, I'll pause.
That was great. It was great. We've got just 3 of us today, so
That's
we're
true. That's
fine.
true. I talk too fast
That was
sometimes.
really good, Dorothy. I appreciate that.
Was.
You taught me too. Because I don't know much about astrology. I've
Right.
heard about the South Node, the North Node, but
Yeah.
That
We're
was
always
very
doing it.
good. Thank you.
We're always doing it. We are never not doing those lunar nodes, no matter what's happening in the sky or in our lives. That is our compass. That's our north and south compass. We're
And
always
that
working.
never changes. That
That
never
does-
changes.
No, it doesn't
That's,
change.
we're born.
They are, we do have the position of them in the sky. And so that's where eclipses are. Those north and south nodes is where the earth and the moon and the sun connect together in, this is astronomy, where they connect together in the sky, right? And that's where we have eclipses. Those lunar north nodes are where we have eclipses. That's why when we have eclipses every 6 months, it's really important for us just to see if they resonate with us. Not everyone will, but because it is the sun, the moon, and the earth lined up, and that's where it is in our own chart, and they keep moving slowly through. Every 6 months we have eclipses. So that's why eclipses, when we have them throughout each year, they're important to pay attention to and see if they resonate with us. And again, this year, Desiree, they're in your sign. 3 of the 4 of them are in your signs of your north and south node, Aries, Libra.
Okay.
And so that means for you, for other people who have that, it's going to be quite important. Yeah.
Thank you so much for
important, yeah.
sharing that. I
You're welcome.
didn't know, I only have a tiny bit of knowledge about astrology, and I had no real understanding of the north and south nodes. So
Yeah.
that was great information.
Awesome. There's
Yeah.
books written on it. So I'll show
Yeah.
you one. I'll show you one while somebody else is talking. I'll grab it. It's behind me. And it's a fabulous book to get to learn about yourself. When I was first studying astrology, this book came out. When I first started studying, we didn't have apps and internet. I know I'm ancient. We didn't have the internet. And when I finally got a book, because I was just learning from a local astrologer, when we finally got the internet, but I found this one book. I'll make sure you get the copy, a name of it. I read it and I was like, because astrology was really hard to learn. I was struggling. And I was like, oh my God, if I had known this when I started studying astrology, I wouldn't have studied astrology. I would have just done this. Mhm. Yeah. So I'll grab that while somebody else is chatting, and I'm going to hit
Okay,
mute.
thank you so much.
Nice.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Dorothy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree 100% with Dorothy. And you have a lot of one energy. Now I have a question for you, Desiree. Do you like adventure?
I do like adventure, but I have not experienced much of it due to life circumstances.
Right. Okay. The one energy is very independent. Like you're self-reliant. It's original. It steps outside of the box. Because if you look at it, it's the first number, right? It's 1. It stands alone. It likes to work alone. I see in the numerology chart, I'm sure David does too, that working in groups isn't as comfortable for you.
That's true.
But I think you're in a time period which started in 2023 and will go to 2031. You're going to be asked more to work in groups. You're going to be asked to, like Dorothy said, to be the leader, to pick him. It's not like you're going to go in the middle of a group and just lead everybody. It's a choosing of what you want them to do to help you.
Okay.
Do you sometimes have too many irons in the fire?
Always.
Always, yes. Okay, good. You have a master number for your life path. It's a 55. And that's somebody who you have very analytical energy. You're very much in your head all the time. I suspect you like to read.
I do, but I don't often get enough quiet time to do it.
Yes, you like to study. You like to learn things on a very deep level. So sometimes I think it's hard for you to bring people into your heart.
It's very hard. Yeah.
Right. So I think in the time period that I gave you from 23 to 31, I think you're going to be asked to reevaluate that, which is what is that what the South Node is doing? Yes, it's
Yeah.
asking you, it's trying to show you how to let people more into your heart. Do not be so, have all those walls up around you, right? Can I ask, what do you do for work?
Right now I am in insurance.
Yeah.
I was sort of in a sales position at the start of 2023, and then I took a break, and now I'm back in insurance, but I'm doing it from a service side. So I'm not in contact with a lot of people like I was previously, which is a little bit difficult for me because I'm a very relationship person. Like I have
Yes.
to connect with people. And I'm not really having the opportunity to do that in the position that I'm in as far as what I do specifically for work on a day-to-day.
Right. Because the five, those two fives, that's a salesman. That's the person that is very good with their words. That's you have a very good way of reading people and understanding what they need. So yes, it's
Pisces,
important for you. That I think that's your socialization. Because I think when you go home at night, you want to be alone, totally alone. So your work is where you pull in that communicating with other people. Yeah. David, what do you have to say?
Oh, I have a lot to say, but I want to thank both of you and Dorothy, because it is so wonderful when astrology and we have different people here doing things. All these energies just interrelate, like you said from the very beginning, Sue. And that's exactly what I was finding when Dorothy was talking, because it's like, oh, this is wonderful. She's just confirming everything that I
Yeah.
So Desiree, I do, as an astronumerology, I kind of look at both sides of the coin, if you will, and all of that. But I'm going to spend a little more time in numerology because we've got specifically Dorothy here. So when I was looking at this, and you and I share our expression. I'm a 7 as well with my expression, and you were talking a little bit about letting appropriate people in. I have kind of the same issue. With that number, it means many things, but you and I probably don't suffer fools very well, so to speak. We're very much interested in, definitely, we're not interested in necessarily the surface-oriented aspect of people. We definitely want to get underneath, you know, and really examine that. So what I did is I looked at all your numbers, and much like Sue said, you've got a lot of ones. And that brings both, you know, working on the physical plane, but also on the spiritual plane. So let me kind of put it all together for you and see what you think here.
Okay.
When I was looking at your life path, I also got the 55, which is a 10, which is a 1. So you're a born leader. You're a pioneer. You want to strike out, I believe, on your own. If you don't, I'm sure you will. What the 1 is over and over again, and I have a library of numerology books. I've been doing this I've been studying, I'm 57, by the way, so I've been doing this for quite a while. One of the things I would say to you is this. You need to be independent, like Sue said, but it is a requirement with a 1 almost. And so what I mean by this is if you have a mindset at all that you are dependent upon someone else, or, you know, what have you, that's not the 1. This is like a lesson in life. And we all have lessons. I wish we were all here just to put our feet up and get a bunch of money, but it's about the trip, and it's about learning the lesson. And this for a 1, which I always say when you have this many, the volume's on high for you. Okay. So this is an incredibly important part of your life. This number 1. Okay. So you are a leader, and so on the physical plane, it's just impeccably important that you be independent. And that is, in other words, you're not waiting for dependence on anybody. So you have to stand up, and however that, you know, works in your life, that's one of the first steps to getting you out of some of the issues you're in now, just so you understand. Some people, it takes almost a lifetime to get there, which is kind of sad in a way, because then they don't have as much time to step into that independence and grow from it. See, what spirit and really the universe is asking you to do is to step up into that independence, and then you're going to, you know, kind of really jump from there to what you're actually here to do. So okay, so that's number 1. And that's all on the physical plane. Now, everything about you is about balance. Okay, and especially with a 1. So you have all this independence. You have this, it takes a lot of energy to be independent. And you have your own ideas and what you want to do. Now, we all of us here, everyone listening, everyone out there, we also have a shadow side. Okay, so I just want to bring this up. And this is where the balance comes in. It might be easy for you to get a little overzealous, get angry, get aggressive when things don't necessarily go your way. And you can take whatever degree that is. It is incredibly important that you check yourself, so to speak, because if you go too far down that road, okay, now that's not what spirit wants. They want balance. And it all comes together here in a minute. So just kind of, if you'll just listen for just a minute. It's a tightrope, a little bit of a tightrope you're walking with a 1, and it takes some time. A lot of these lessons, it takes until a little later in life. So I can understand if you're saying you're consistently working at this and you're not getting where you're supposed to be. Many of these lessons that we're bringing to you today, it takes time to get there. And it's just how it is for some people, okay? It's the whole lesson aspect of things. So that's kind of your physical plane. You really are, you're meant, and they want you to be this independent leader, but they don't want you to be this over-aggressive person when it comes to other people. And I know your sun is in the 6th house of Pisces, so I know that you are very caring, you want to work with people, you have that side of you, which actually might help you stay out of the aggressive side of things, okay? So now we have a spiritual plane of a number 1. Okay, now if you think about a number 1, it's reaching to the heavens and it's down to the earth, right? That's what a 1 is. Along with this, you have now stepped into, at the age of 45, you have a pinnacle of an 11, 2 1s, okay? And that you are open up now and able probably have a direct connect. I am a pinnacle that's 11 that I went into when I was 49. And it can be a very difficult energy to manage. So on top of all this, you are very open probably, or becoming more open. It can also be a very confusing time where it's almost puts you in a bit of a tailspin. Okay, so here is the important part of this, and it's a master number, and believe me, it's not like you won the lottery. you are here, if you believe it, you've picked it before you got here. It is something that really it's a calling. Okay, so when we're thinking about this, and I'm going to get onto your other parts here, 11 can be a master number, can be a very tough energy, but a very important energy for you. When you have your physical plane in balance, like we talked about, and you can ground, it is imperative that you ground daily with an 11 energy, okay? So in order to handle all that high level energy from the spirit, you've got to be able to ground yourself, which will keep you level-headed. It'll keep you more balanced. So I would say to you, on whatever this means to you on a daily basis, you need to be grounding. It can be meditation. I know you need time alone. We're going to talk about your expression. We did a little bit. That's all part of that. Okay. So to put it all together here, we're the 1 to lift you up, and you can do quite well with a 1 as a leader, as you know, but you have to kind of play the game that you've been playing, really play the hand you've been dealt in life. And what that means is both a spiritual balance as well as a physical plane balance, keeping it a level head, but yet being independent. So it's a bit of a tightrope that you're on, and that's what 1s have to play. That's just how it is. And every number, there's no number that's worse than any other. It's just, this is what you've been given.
Right.
Okay. So with that understood, and what everyone has said, your 7 again is also a very mystical number, and it opens you up to spirit. So you've already got a lot of spiritual energy, and now you stepped into even more with the 11. Does that make sense?
It
So
does.
that is, okay. So that's a big part of your life. It's becoming so, it will if it isn't already. So some sort of spiritual practice would be incredibly good for you. Of course, a side hustle or something that might work for you. It sounds like you're incredibly busy, and I understand that. But what I'm saying to you is balancing each of these is what's going to get you down the road to getting out of the issues that you're in. Does that make sense? Okay.
I'm on that right now. I'm trying to balance the spiritual aspect of my life and the physical aspect. And sometimes it's like, I don't know which way I'm going.
And that's your wonderful spirit. That's that 11 energy. I was in the same boat. I literally stopped a corporate career because of it, believe it or not. And so anyway, it's something, it's daily work, and it's balance. It's definitely grounding. You absolutely have to ground. And really, I know as a 7, you need some time alone, even though, you're 6 and you're 2 5s, you really enjoy being with people. But as you said earlier, And in that time alone, that would be the perfect time to ground and really get yourself, cleared for the next day, whatever it is. Okay. Now, let's quickly bring in your 2-year. What the 2-year is asking you, and what my wonderful Dorothy supported in saying, is a 2-year is all about diplomacy. It is all about being the diplomat. And what the diplomat does is, even though you're this one leader, you are going to be, you're not there with the, this is how it is. As a diplomat, you're persuasive. It's all about persuasion. So in this number 2 year, first of all, it's slower. A 2 year is just slower. It is how it is. I've read for a number of people, a very dear friend of mine who went through a 2 year. It's just a slower period of time, and so it takes a little bit of time to get the traction, so to speak. But a 2 year is going to be good for you. So when we're looking at that 2 year, really what you have is compromise, diplomacy. It's a good year to work on yourself. So any type of research you want to do, anything you're thinking, I would say maybe journal to decide if you're with that 11 energy. It can be very confusing. Journaling. A lot of times what you're trying to do, and ask spirit to guide you. You are not alone. You have got an orchestra of people up there who are waiting and ready to help you, but you have to ask.
That's what I'm learning.
Okay. Ask for signs, ask for direction on a daily basis. If you're into prayer, that's another way of doing it. Okay. So I would have that all. Now, having said all this, and with the idea that you're balancing and you're getting the physical and the spiritual plane all balanced. Okay. Once you kind of have that, and it may not be this year, but this year is looking kind of good for you. I have May as a pivotal month for you on a spiritual level, which will be good. I have July getting some very distinct steps forward for you. I think it's going to be, a really good year for you. And by the end of getting toward the end of the personal year, you should be able to step into some real power and understanding, and actually understand your path a little bit better than you do today.
Okay.
Okay. But it's all about balance. Your 1s aren't going to lead you. Your 7 is with you, and your 11 you have until you're about 52. Okay. So during this time, you've got a little bit of time in this energy. So they're asking you to manage that energy. And I think what you'll find, if you can really grab hold of that and keep your balance and keep yourself grounded, the 2 year is really going to work quite well for you toward the end.
Okay.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of energy, and I'm wondering, like Sue talked about 55, you talk about 11, and 7, and I'm like in my head trying to wrap around, like, where are you guys pulling this information from? Like, where is the 55?
I really like you, Desiree. That's your analytical mind.
Yeah, that's
right?
a 7.
You got to figure this out. You got to figure out how we're
That's your
calculating,
Scorpio moon.
and I like that. I do
Perfect.
like that.
I do too.
Yeah. That's the Scorpio moon. That's the Scorpio moon, and
Yeah.
all that Neptune,
Yes.
but all the Pisces, all the water you have in your chart. You absolutely, superficial is not for you. You absolutely always take the deep dive. And that's one, sorry to cut you off, Sue. That's one of the reasons why you say, I mean, I have forward movement, but it's usually slow. It's because you need it to be slow.
Mhm.
You don't
Okay.
want to move your soul, the spirit. You might want to move quickly because we're trained to do that in society, but that Scorpio moon with Uranus, with all your Pisces planets, and I'll get to after Sue, other things going on, but you're deep. You're meant to be deep.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that you asked the right
And
question.
that's who you are. So
Mhm.
it's okay, right? You need to
Yeah.
accept that. You have a lot of master numbers. I mean,
Mhm.
your expression is an 88, 16, 7. So,
Yeah.
and David has the exact expression, the 88.
Yes. Mhm.
And that's the unstoppable generator. I mean, you're constantly thinking, going, moving, reworking things, evaluating things over and over and over. Have you ever thought about being an entrepreneur?
I'm currently in the process of trying to open my own insurance office.
There you
Oh,
go.
nice. There you go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
and
think
see,
you
now
should.
that's just where
Yes.
Dorothy was, right? She
Mhm.
said, you're the
Yes.
leader, and then you're gonna pick this one, you're gonna pick that one. So, and that's perfect for you because you like to run the show.
Mhm.
And you're very good at it because you're very intelligent. You're going to think things through. The other thing that David said, which I thought was really good, is balancing.
Mhm.
It's so important. You have so much one. Now, when we have a lot of one, of any energy, of any number,
Mhm.
sometimes it's like drinking too much, it can become unbalanced. So I question if your self-esteem, if your self-confidence, if those lower energies sometimes creep in and you doubt yourself. And this is, again, is where that one wants you to stand in your power.
Yeah.
Now, those are little challenges, and those are just the greatest thing is you're listening to us, and then we're bringing an awareness to you so that when these things crop up, you can say, okay, that's that little challenge here, and I've got this. I can take this. I can do this. I can run that business because I have the energy to do that. Right?
Okay.
Now I also question, you fear change.
Yes. Not so much recently as in the past, but changes haven't always been good for me in my life circumstances and the world that I've had to live physically, and that has lended to the unbalanced one energy, because I've had to singly raise 4 children by myself.
Mhm.
So that over independence is where I was living unbalanced for a long time. And now that I'm coming out of that, I am learning more of balancing the one. But I had to be strict with my kids in the way that this is the way it's going to be, because I didn't have a male figure to step in and like
Mhm.
be there for the boys. So I have definitely seen a lot of growth in that area for me in the last year.
Yeah.
Survival
Well,
mode.
thank goodness you had all this one energy.
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
you
Somebody
needed.
else in that situation wouldn't have done it as well a job as you, but you had that one to pull through because one is masculine.
Yeah.
And I can see in another part of your chart where you have being masculine, it comes easy for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now the 11-2, that 9 years that David and I are talking about between 2023 and 2031. David's correct. It's all about grounding. You spin around in circles. I also have an 11-2 pentacle. And when I
Mhm.
first went into it, I didn't know what was going on with myself because I couldn't settle down. Now, it also feels like sometimes you're not driving the bus. You start out on an adventure and then next thing the bus just kind of goes off to the side. It's important that you kind of follow the bus. Don't fear that, okay? Because you're being guided.
Okay.
When you have master numbers, it's about mastering that number.
Yeah.
It's about mastering. So you need to master that one, which is being okay with standing in your power and taking control. You have to master the 5. The 5 is about adventure. It's about freedom. It's about letting the wind blow under your wings and being very curious about life and diving into that. The 8 is all about business and finances and working and so all of those things are very much needed to be worked on. I really feel deep down, I feel like you hold a whole lot within yourself. You don't you don't express yourself as much as you should. You
Yeah.
kind of you tuck everything inside. I can do it. I can take care of it myself. I don't need to tell anybody. That's very hard on the etheric body. It's very hard. So it's important that you find some way to work with your energy around you.
Okay.
You're holding a lot and holding a lot from the past that's still sitting with you. So I think that if you could find somebody that does Reiki or even acupuncture or anything of that nature that's going to help you to release some of
Yeah.
those things, I think would be very, very helpful for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
it would be.
And I also see the 2 year as being there's something new coming in for you
Mhm.
in the 2 year. There's change this year coming in, so don't fear it. Let the bus take you. Drive,
April.
go sit
April,
in the
May.
passenger side and let somebody else drive, right?
Well,
Let
that's
somebody else
hard
go.
for me because I've had to drive the bus. Like I've had,
Correct.
and I become almost fixated on where I need to go. Like I'm thinking, okay, I have to become financially independent. Like, so
Yes.
what do I have to do to get there?
Yeah.
And then it's hard when like I'm sort of in it right now. Like I've been on this road to opening my own insurance office. Well, it'll be a year next month, but there keeps being roadblocks, but necessarily not bad roadblocks, because
Right.
in that year's time, I have become Reiki certified and have been working on my spiritual side of stuff. So it's back to what David was talking about balance. So I can see that it was intended that I step back from the road that I was on so that I could do the spiritual side of stuff. But
Mhm.
I almost feel stuck right now and not able to move forward
I can help you with
the
that.
business side of it.
I can
And
help you with that.
that's also your 2 year. 2 years are just slower. I mean, you've come off of a 1 year that was probably a pretty good clip. At least most people. Well, the two, it's like, as every year you progress, it's kind of a different theme. Being slow is part of the two. Now, and I'll let Dorothy, I didn't mean to like
Oh, no, go
take your
for it.
time.
I got plenty to
But-
say. Dig in.
Okay. Your ones and your seven actually complement number one yourself somewhat, because your seven tends to want to just close yourself in, like you say you do at night, and I can relate to that. But your one is definitely getting you out there and things like opening your insurance agency and what have you. So don't, when I think what Sue is trying to say is you're analyzing with the seven, you definitely want to be in control with the one. And on a day-to-day basis, that makes perfect sense to become independent, but don't lose, allow things to unfold, I guess. Don't hold it quite so tight that there might be something that comes up that just might fit perfectly, but if you're close to it, it's not going to happen. So
Right.
yeah, be able to take things in a little bit, I think. Okay, so I'll let Dorothy do her thing.
Thank you.
Right.
Sure. Mhm.
So insurance is awesome. That's one thing I didn't pull out of your chart from you having a moon in Scorpio. When I see the moon in Scorpio, the transiting transiting means where they are in the sky, they're moving, right? Just for those who aren't clear. That you've already had your Uranus opposition. That was last year. That usually puts people into a whole different space that they never expected. So you can experience
It did.
life. Okay. Yes, it does. It always does. We make sudden choices, especially if we're not, because you've had a lot on your plate and you've had your head down and you're like, this is what I'm doing. And that makes perfect sense with your north and south nodes the way they are. Uranus is currently opposite your natal moon, the natal moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is insurance. What kind of insurance? Is it all the insurances or is it?
Previously, I was focused on property and casualty and just getting into life insurance, but the position that I'm in right now as a service.
No, your business. I don't care about what you do for 1099. I mean, your W-2 stuff. I want what you want to focus on. What is it, all of them?
No, because right now I'm working in health insurance and
Okay.
covering small groups of people for health insurance.
Yeah.
And there's too many details in that for me. Like I'm a pretty detailed oriented person
Yeah.
with my Virgo rising.
Yep.
But it's too much. It's overwhelming, the weeds that you have to get into to do all of
Okay.
that. So I don't want to be in the health insurance side of it.
Okay.
all.
Okay. I felt that though. I felt that you would be in that piece. However, that doesn't, just because I felt it doesn't mean a thing. I just had to deal with a lot of that with my mother. So that could be why that was, because, and this is a good example too. Us readers, we have our own lives and our own stuff that's happening, and we will still filter filter our information through what's going on in our lives. It's our job to separate that. So just to be clear, that's probably why I was thinking of it.
Yeah.
So I'll move on. And I can see this, but your moon in Scorpio is about going deep. Some of the recommendations, not knowing what you were doing. I was curious as to how you were using this in your life, because the moon in Scorpio, and now I know you go deep, you know, you want to know why or how things work. You're always that person who can question those things. On the metaphysical side of things, I would say you could easily be a medium if you felt like you wanted to. Very psychic, very intuitive, shamanic work. That work that is really changes the Reiki, the energy healing, all of those things are absolutely can be part of your life. So do that. But one of the things that I really saw, and this is the movement of Saturn. Saturn's our business. It's our reputation. It's our business. It's our foundation. It's our structure. We have to work hard to get the rewards of what Saturn wants from us. And you have no problem working hard. For some people who have too many easy aspects, Saturn can feel really crappy, but you don't have that. You know, this transit Saturn is in Pisces right now. You are a Pisces. It is making, here's all of the things Saturn's doing in 2024 and early 25, and I'll give you all these details if you like. It is opposite your ascendant, moving into the 7th house 3 times. April, September 2024, and January 2025. I'll tell you what these things mean all together in a minute. Squares your midheaven, which is the area of the astrology, which is your career, your profession, your reputation, makes that 90-degree angle March 21st, 2024. It makes its conjunction to your sun in March 1st, 2024. Makes its conjunction to your Mercury, March 14th, 2024. And then it makes its connection to your Venus in June and July of 2024 and February 2025. So you can see here, we have March and April, then June, July are very strong. And then we have to go to the fall. So like the September timeframe. And then in early of next year, all of this is saying you're doing the hard work. It is Saturn conjunct your sun. It's like no more, and for lack of a better word, no more pretending that you're a business owner. You're going to do it. I know you're not pretending, but I guess it's the Pisces piece. It's like, well, it's there, but it's not. You're a hard worker. You
Yes.
can do this now. You can do this now. You don't have to do it in March, but I kind of recommend that if you're really going to, there are missing pieces to how you want to be an entrepreneur and get that business running. We have the no retrograde time period is coming up, and it's from the end of January. So let's just say all of February and all of March. We have absolutely no planets that are retrograde in that time frame. And then there's another time frame 3 weeks after that, with the exception of Pluto. That means you have an opportunity in these time frames, you know, January, February and March, and I already gave you some March dates that are really significant for you to do business, get paperwork in order, be very, very organized. It comes from your 6th house. It gives you all of those opportunities because you know how to work hard. And slow progress is progress.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I
want you
try.
to, I know you do have a chart that is exactly how you described yourself. It's like it's always a struggle. You have to change those words. It just means life is purposeful, and you're not in the fast lane. You're in the lane that is slower because you want to absorb and experience your life. And so it's a thought in your head. It's been there for a while, probably, obviously, but, and you can't change it like that. But when you catch yourself thinking, oh my God, this is just so hard. Nope, this is like, nope, this is on purpose. You know, you don't build the 10th floor of a building until the ones below it are safe and secure and built. And this is what you're doing.
Okay.
And Saturn right now is here to support that. You have this. So this year, 2024, so actually the next 13, 14 months, as Saturn is moving through these planets and it retrogrades back, moves forward again, it is giving you many opportunities or the tools. It's extra support for you to get what you need and to
Okay.
start to put these things in place. So I can see that there is something here. You have a reputation, you should have a reputation already as somebody who sells insurance, because you were, like you said, you were in the people part of it for a while there.
I
So you
was.
yeah. So do people know you as that? Do you have a reputation publicly?
Yeah, and people know me as that.
Yeah.
It's one of the hard things is the company that I'm considering going with doesn't have anything open in this area. So if I do it, I may have to move out of my, you know,
Mm,
area of people that I know, which I, in a lot of ways, kind of want to do that.
yeah.
But then it holds me back with the fact that I don't have any connections there because I'm such a connected person.
Yeah. So that's your North Node in Libra. So you are using that very well enough then. Are your children grown? Are they processing themselves? Are they going through different transitions themselves? You got Pluto in your 5th house of children. Yeah.
So I have 2 adult children. I
Yeah.
have a 17 and a 13-year-old at home, and my 17-year-old actually is graduating a year early from high school,
Nice.
and probably stepping into some college, you know, community college next year. So technically, I would have just one child
Yeah.
um,
Good. Yeah.
that's really dependent on me.
Right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. They are at that age. So, how can I clarify anything I've said right now? I mean, of course, there's
Well,
always more, but
I
yeah,
think I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch the information like when it's posted because there was a
Yeah.
lot and I tried to take some notes, but it's hard
Yeah.
to stay focused on what you're saying when I'm
Exactly.
taking notes.
That's why we do
Um,
that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
Saturn to the sun is you'll feel the hard work. Just so I can clarify just a little bit more, unless somebody wants to put their hand up and interrupt. Saturn on the sun, which is what happens March 1st. You're feeling it already. Okay. It's close enough where you're already feeling it. These dates, you've got to give a couple of weeks wiggle room on either side, honestly. And that's when we feel, I'll be clear, depressed. We could feel depressed about, oh my God, there's so much.
that is how I'm feeling right now. It's
That is
just
how you
that
feel
I'm
right now.
overwhelmed with everything that's
It
going on.
so one thing at a time is what you need to stay
Yes.
focused on.
Mhm.
March 21st, here's the next, no, March 14th, Saturn will make just one connection as well to your Mercury. Mercury is how you gather information and the communication, because your Sun and your Mercury are right next to each other, just a few degrees. So that is mental effort. So you'll be a lot of efforting at the end. This is all near your birthday, of course, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, all of this is because it is near your birthday. All of this is happening. So that is thinking, processing information. And then the next aspect after that is Saturn squaring the midheaven. So that is the top of, well, it's the 10th house cusp in where I use the house system I use, and that's March 21st. And squaring that means that so this is all of March, you've done some hard work and you can be recognized for it. Or the research, you're always engaging your moon, the research you've been doing over whatever the period of time, as you said, you took a little break from opening your own office. This still gives you insight into, is this possible or not? I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm not saying that you're absolutely going to open
Right.
your own business, but what's happening in the meantime is like you're still doing the hard work as if you are going to. Okay, you
Yeah.
have to make that
I
decision.
think she sees the clarity. I
Yeah,
think she sees the clarity in that month. It starts to
Yeah.
come together.
what are
Yeah.
the numbers that support? What is the month that?
It's a
that-
5. It's
Okay,
a 5-month, and so there's an expansion. And
Yes.
I feel like that maybe the clarity comes in, that you
Yeah.
make the decision.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have April as a very significant month.
And then April 19th is when Saturn actually pops up above the horizon, when Saturn, we have the horizon in our chart, it's just a straight line that goes straight across that wheel, and that's the horizon. Below it is when we're working behind the scenes, and when it's above, we're out in the public eye. This is the first time in like 14 years that Saturn will be above the horizon. It's going to go back and forth because it will retrograde back and forth across that point. So it's going to say, are you sure? Do you mean it? Do you mean it? Do you mean it? Are you sure
Oh,
you
is that
mean
a
it?
decisiveness?
Yeah.
Yes.
With
Try
my
But
that too.
sign, I'm not always very decisive because I
That's
see.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So Saturn back and forth, the first time it comes above the horizon. And so especially for the next 7 years, you're building a reputation. This is absolutely ideal for a person who wants to start their own business. It
Okay.
truly is. It's
Mhm.
also ideal for other people who are just like in a casual relationship with a person, and they're thinking of potentially taking it to a serious level, to a more committed level. There's that commitment too. I don't want this just to be all business, because you actually could find somebody and be with somebody that you feel you can be in partnership, tandem
Yeah.
with, work
I see
with,
that.
or
Yeah.
law for the rest of your life. So, and it's not that minute, not April 19th, 2024, but as Saturn gets into that 7th house, it will stay in, it will move back into there. It comes out in September. It'll move back in on January 12th, 2025. So it's just, it's fine, because this is the one that goes 3 times. This is fine. It gives you that opportunity.
Mhm.
Connecting to your Venus at the same time. So here is the 3 things that you would watch for in those 3 times, the April, September 2024, and January, February 2025. Saturn coming across the 7th house cusp, connecting to Venus, opposite your ascendant. 3 different things is the potential, again, being very much stronger in your business and really working towards, I am going to do this. I do have this knowledge. This is good for me. I'd much rather work for myself. Or you might finally discover in this year that it's like, oh, I'd rather just do W-2 work. That's just so much easier. And I don't have to think about it when I go home. You will be making that decision.
Okay.
And then Saturn on Venus is a financial decision, needs to be made. You will look at that. That's why I'm saying that too. You're looking at, is this money, do I feel this? Nothing sure, but you're confident about your work. People need insurance. It seems a pretty comfortable thing that you could be getting into, just opinion. But you're looking at the money and the finances of it too. And then the third thing is Venus is also about our partnerships and our relationships, what we value in those relationships when Saturn comes into there and connects with all this Pisces energy. It helps you to get some clarity. Helps
Okay.
you to get some clarity around what you want for your career, how you want to earn money. Is this money stable? And then who am I working in partnership and tandem with? In all of the categories that we have partners with, our love relationships, our business relationships, our coworkers, our managers, etc. You got a good stuff. This
So
is good. This is a
another
good work
question
in
I
you.
have too is, if I may be wrong because I haven't looked at my chart in a while. I know there's at least 3 houses that are empty, and I think maybe my 7th house was one of them.
No, Venus is in your 7th house.
Okay.
I use a Placidus house system. If you use whole sign houses, you might see that. I use an older system. That's just what I learned. You have Venus in there, and you don't have to worry about having empty houses. There's 12 houses, and we only have 9 or 10 planets, depends on what you use. You can throw all the asteroids in and fill it right up, but I don't bother. That's too much information. The empty houses, don't worry about it, because planets like Saturn, Neptune is moving through your 7th house right now. So you have activity in your 7th house. That's it. It's simple. Just because we don't have planets in a house when we're born, planets are moving through in the sky. They move through there. And whatever zodiac sign, like your 8th house has no planets. Aries is the ruler of your 8th house. So we have to go to rulership, and that is, I'm teaching. Mars rules Aries, so you go see what's happening with Mars, and whenever Mars is activated, your 8th house gets that vibration too.
Okay.
So even though a house is empty, the ruler of that house is still in there somewhere,
Mhm.
And then when whatever happens with them, your 8th house gets it as a secondary vibration. So yeah, it shows up.
Okay.
A little lesson.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
I
done.
think one of the biggest things that I'm trying to like figure out right now is how I balance both of my realms, I guess, like
Yeah.
the practical side of me, the independence,
Mhm.
get it, having that income, my career, with the spiritual side of me, because I have such a strong connection spiritually. And
Yep.
over this last year, I have grown that immensely.
Mhm.
But
So
we
If
need
I
to pay our bills, and we need to eat and support our family. To me, that is where physical bodies, we need to do the physical thing. That has to have a little more weight than the spiritual life. So as soon as I'm working, I'm paying my bills, I'm doing this, and then that spiritual life can be incorporated. You don't have to balance it. They can be one.
okay.
Yeah, bring them together.
That's what that 11-2 is. I mean,
There you
the
go.
next 8 years is all
Right.
about spirituality.
Yeah.
Right.
This is why you're so driven and you're so
Mhm.
indecisive on which way to go and which one you should choose. But don't worry about that, because spirit's always with us. The
Mhm.
more we talk to them, the more we work with them, the more they'll work with us. So they're always working with us, but the more
Yeah.
we'll recognize it, I should say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The only thing
I
I would
think
add
this
to
is-
that.
Oh, go
I'm
ahead,
sorry,
David.
because I know we got to stop. Desiree, what I would do, as far as I agree with them, I think it is a balance, but you've been given this master number for a reason. You're in Reiki, which is perfect, but listen for messages, because I know a lot of Reiki healers who begin to get messages if you aren't already. So be open to that and listen to them and see how that incorporates, because they're here for your highest good. So they're going to help you along this path. It's not necessarily one or the other. It's like, that's the whole point when I was originally talking about it. You've got to balance both. And don't think of it as, you're here to take this in. Don't think that everything has to be all about you doing everything per se in that regard. So it's a path. You're on a path. You're not at the destination yet. So
Okay.
day by day,
No.
ground, balance, and I'll leave it there for you.
No.
Thank you.
You're
Even
welcome.
at our ages, we're still challenged.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think it with a little bit of wisdom, we don't take the challenges so seriously sometimes, I think, but.
And I put the name of that book in the chat. I put the name
Oh,
of that
yeah.
book in the chat
Let
for
me open
everybody.
that up.
Yeah,
Astrology for the
Astrology.
Soul
Yes.
by
by
Jan Spiller.
Spiller.
Yeah, it's a yellow book. You can get them used. It looks like this, but nowadays I think they reprinted it, and it's got a really bright yellow cover, so it won't look the same. But this is it. This whole book is just about the North and South nodes.
Okay.
Nice.
So good, so good.
Patricia,
Amazing.
thank you for joining us.
Yes.
I love the back. I
Is there
love your
anything
room.
you'd like to add to our group?
No, only that you guys have helped me understand a great deal. And
Oh,
Desiree
nice.
offered this to me to help clarify some things for me, and you have. And I'll be looking for that book for sure.
Awesome. And if you need to know where your
Nice.
nodes are, just email me and with your birth information, and I'll let you know.
Thank you.
And if
Thank
you want a
very
reading
much.
from any of us, all the information will be in the description in the YouTube.
Wonderful. I will be in
Okay.
touch. Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Very
Wonderful.
good.
Thank you so much.
Desiree, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I just want to say, like, wow, that there's so much information out there that we're not aware of. And once we start becoming aware of it, it's like trying to wade through the weeds a little bit, and you don't know where to put it and how it really pertains to your life. So being able to listen to such wisdom in regards to how things align with you specifically is very helpful. And I thank you so much for this opportunity and this information. I'm really excited to see how the next year is going to be.
Yes, we are too.
We
So
are
stay
too,
in
yeah.
contact with us. Let
I
us
will.
know.
I will.
That's the thing about when we do readings. A lot of times we say goodbye and we don't hear, until a year or two later they come back. So it's always fun to hear. Okay, everybody, I want to thank everybody for coming. Again, if you're interested in having a reading, just please go to my YouTube channel or email me, and I'll be happy to give the information to you. I don't have the form back from the lady that we're going to be reading on the 3rd. This is 3rd, right? February 3rd. She is, I think she's in Maine. But anyway, so that's, as soon as I have that information, I'll send it all to everybody.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Desiree, thank you very much.
Thank
I want
you.
everybody to go in the light. For those who feel like they're in the dark, stay grounded. Big time
Yes.
for everybody. Stay
Mhm.
grounded
Mhm.
and do something kind for somebody. Big or small, it doesn't matter. All right,
Thank
my
you, everybody.
friends. Always good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.